Dr. Onorio Chaparro, our Director of Admissions and Vocational Discernment. Good to have you this day, and also to talk a little bit about, our DNA at NSBT, who we are. So with that in mind, as students watch this interview, what does NSBT mean to you?
Oh, that's great. That's a great question. NSBT for me is a dream come true. Dreaming about it in the sense of, I remember for years with Pastor Bernard casting vision, with Dr. A.R. Bernard, the founder, just casting vision of having a seminary that speaks to the just a unique outlook, biblically speaking, on just Christ in culture. What does it mean for us to be ministers of reconciliation, to be ambassadors for Christ, theologically, philosophically, holistically, and to train other leaders in that theology, in that viewpoint. So this is like a dream come true for me. I know for me personally, I've often wrestled between in my own calling, in a sense of my pastoral calling, but also my love for academics.
Mhm.
And this school is a fusion of the two, a perfect complement of the two. It's especially from my unique wiring, where I love to see people grow,
Mm.
but I also love the academic challenge, the challenge to engage the scriptures, to engage church history, on all those levels, on the leadership level, theological level, philosophical level, and ultimately, what does it look like in practice? So this NSBT for me is a dream come true.
That's wonderful. I think, as you mentioned it, it's been a dream in the making for many years, and Dr. Bernard has been such a leader in the community and in the Christian world, and now for him to be able to have a platform for this to go at an academic level, it's exciting, as you had just mentioned. And so, and I appreciate you sharing that. Another thing I like to ask, because I wonder our students would like to know, as you being the director of admissions, and also the second part, I think is just as important, the vocational discernment.
Yeah.
How does that role, really help our students that come to NSBT?
Well, yes, I think the this unique role that I have as the director of admissions and leading the committee on really taking a look at the student applications and getting to know the students. Our heart is that we would have students that feel called to attend this school. I think that we want students to understand that they may have a future vision of themselves as a pastor, or even a CEO, or starting a nonprofit venture. And sometimes the tendency is to see school as just a bridge. But school is part of the formational process. School is part of what God is doing in the calling. And sometimes, I know for me personally, before my calling became clearer, and it's grown through the years, God has fleshed out all these things in my heart and my mind, in my community over the years. But in the beginning, the first part was really experiencing a sense of being called to seminary. And I believe that that calling to seminary is part of the discerning process. Is God calling you to this school? And can this school serve you into the things that you are discerning, with your relationship with God, your relationship with your community, your sense of self, your sense of the direction of your gifts and your talents. And so again, we want to help a student discern, vote, are they called to the school, and then begin a process of discerning their calling into the future, because we are indeed a place where God is going to use to deepen them.
Mhm.
Someone said, what does school do for you? Well, it's not just what school does for you; it's what God does in you through
Mhm.
the school, so that He can also then partner with you and use you and live through you as a result of what He's formed in you. And so that's really, again, a big part of my part here as the director of admissions and vocational discernment, is I want to partner with the students. I want to discern with the students that they're called to be in this school, and to set them on the right track. Because we're not looking just for a body to fill a seat. We're not looking for just somebody to just come through and for them to just. No, we want to know this is a partnership to the glory of God.
Yeah. So in that, and that's awesome what you're saying as far as your whole role and how that interfaces with the student. When if a student thinks about admissions, you are the first person that
Yeah.
really gets into the picture. So what are things that you're looking from a student when they apply as the admissions director and
Well,
that
yeah,
you're leading?
yeah, no, I totally, I think the first thing is, are they being honest with themselves? Are they being honest with God? Are they, are they able to answer those critical essay questions
Mhm.
in a way that you can also see that they're discovering some things along the way, that they sometimes the question is a question that is just some wrestling to it, and that's
Mhm.
okay. But we want to see that they're engaging it. We want to see that they're, because there is the reality that we are a seminary, and there is an academic standard to it, but it's also a deep theological standard as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, as you have mentioned, they'll really get to know you in the beginning of the whole phase. Our students will, and now as you've talked through about NSBT's vision and how you've been a part of that, and then as well your role as it impacts students. The last thing that I want to ask, so our students kind of get a sense of who is Dr. Onorio. Something that you want maybe them to know that they might not know about you.
Yeah, no, listen, I think the thing that they would probably not know about me is that I'm a really big comic book nerd. I love all things comic books. I love all things that have to do with science fiction. Whether it's Doctor Who or GI Joe, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, I love all things science fiction and comic book related. I've enjoyed using it as a medium of discipleship for my own children. So it's been a fantastic. I'm a lifelong lover of all things sword and fantasy
Yeah.
and things of that nature. So yeah, they might not know that about me, but that is, I am the proverbial nerd. So yes, that's me.
Oh, good. Well, students and all you that are looking at NSBT, this is who we are at NSBT, and it's so good to have Dr. Onorio Chaparro, who is our Director of Admissions and Vocational Discernment. Thank you again
Yeah,
for
you're
this
welcome.
time.
You're welcome. God bless.